So today the topic is properties of Z transform. So we'll see here, we have seen what is the definition of Z transform and what is ROC. So we know now what is Z transform and what is region of convergence. Now we'll look into the properties of Z transform so that we can use this property to solve the complex problems of Z transform. So again I'll tell you the definition once again. X of Z equals to x of n, z raised to minus n equals to minus infinity to infinity. What is ROC? ROC is all values of Z for which x of Z is finite or x of Z exists. This is x of Z. This is called as bilateral Z transform because we are using here for both sides, and the property which we are going to study is also for both sides. Now the properties which we are going to study are properties of Z transform. We have done mostly these properties in all other transforms and the properties are also similar. We'll look into first one is linearity, second is time shifting, third one is scaling in Z domain, fourth one is time reversal, fifth one is differentiation in Z domain, and the sixth one is convolution property. Okay, so we look into these six which are important properties of Z transform, and we'll start with linearity. We're going to see this property. The first property is linearity. Let us see what is this linearity property. Remember the definition of Z transform. We are going to use this definition. Okay, the first property of Z transform is linearity. We'll also prove these properties. Linearity. It says that if x1n, the Z transform is x1z, x2n, the Z transform is x2z. So Z transform of a1 x1n plus a2 x2n will be a1 x1z plus a2 x2z. This is a linearity property which it satisfies the superposition principle. So we'll prove this now. We know x1n, x1z, x2n, the transform is x2z. So the transform of this is this. Let us start with this. Let us take this signal as y of n. So what will be y of z? Y of z will be y of n z raised to minus n from n equals to minus infinity to infinity, equals to, we'll put the value of y of n as this, that is a1 x1n plus a2 x2n z raised to minus n equals to minus infinity to infinity, equals to summation n equals to minus infinity to infinity a1 x1n z raised to minus n plus summation n equals to minus infinity to infinity a2 x2n z raised to minus n. Now you can take a1 common here because a1 is constant, x1n z raised to minus n is equals to minus infinity to infinity plus a2 n equals to minus infinity to infinity x2n z raised to minus n. Now what is this? You can see this is nothing but x1z. This is a1 x1z plus a2. This is again x2z. So this is a1 x1z plus a2 x2z. So we know that when the signal is a1 x1n plus a2 x2n, the Z transform is a1 x1z plus a2 x2z. Now let us look into the ROC. For this, suppose the ROC is R1, mod Z is greater than R1. Here ROC is R2. That means greater than less than, we will not say greater or less than, we will say ROC is R1. It can be causal signal or anti-causal. ROC is R2. So when it is addition of two signals, the ROC will always be R1, common of both, intersection R2, ROC of R1 and R2. So we'll say the common of both the signal. This is the property linearity. Okay. Let us look at the second property. The ROC is important. If the ROC of this is R1, this is R2, the addition of this or subtraction or anything will be intersection of R1 and R2. The next property is time shifting property. The next property is time shifting property. This is the second property, very important property, because if you know the Z transform of a signal and if it is shifted in time domain, we can find out by using this property. This states that if x of n, the Z transform is x of z. This double arrow means what? The Z transform of x of n is x of z, the inverse Z transform of x of z is x of n. Then if you shift the signal by time in by m units, if the signal is shifted in time domain by m units, the Z transform is multiplied by z raised to minus m. This is your Z transform. So if the ROCs are here, we say ROCs are, we'll write what is the ROC of this. Now the Z transform of x of n is x of z. The Z transform of x of n minus m will be z raised to minus m into x of z. Now what is the ROC here? We know ROC is the values of z for which x of z exists. Now we know here x of z is same here, only what is extra here? Z raised to minus m. So we'll say ROC will be r except z equals to 0, because when z equals to 0 this will become infinity. So the same x of z is here, so we'll say ROCs are except z equals to 0, because when z equals to 0 this will become infinite. Okay, let us prove this property. Now we know that x of n, the transform is x of z. We have to find the z transform of this. Let us take y of n equals to y of x of n minus m. Okay, now taking find y of z. What will be y of z? Summation n equals to minus infinity to infinity y of n z raised to minus n. Y of z will be summation n equals to minus infinity to infinity. What is y of n? Y of n is x of n minus m z raised to minus n. Now we have to find the transform of this. Let us take n minus m equals to k. When you take n minus m equals to k, this becomes x of k, and what will be n here? N will be m plus k. So z raised to minus m plus k. I'll write in the right hand side. What we are taking here is n minus m. I'm writing it here. I'm taking here n minus m equals to k. So what will be n? N will be m plus k. So I'll put the value here. Summation x of k z raised to minus m plus k. Now what will be the limit here? Limit is for n. I have to change it for k. So what will be k here? K, if you put is minus infinity, k will be minus infinity. If you put n as infinity, k will be infinity. So the limit is same. What is this? X of k z raised to minus m z raised to minus k. Now look at this. The limit is for k. This m is extra here. So that I can take outside. Z raised to minus m summation k minus infinity to infinity x of k z raised to minus k. Now this is y of z. Y of z is what? Y of z is the z transform of x of n minus m. Now if you look into this, what is this? If you look into this, this is nothing but summation this x of k z raised to minus k is x of z. So I can write this as z raised to minus m x of z. That means the z transform of x of n minus m is z raised to minus m x of z. And if ROC of x of z is r, so r will be same here because x of z is there into z raised to minus m. That means if z becomes 0, this whole term will become infinity. So ROCs are except z equals to 0. So whenever we use this property, we'll see that the ROC will be same as it is of x of n except z equals to 0. Okay, so remember this property now. X of n minus m, the z transform is z raised to minus m x of z. Minus this side, minus this side. If I change here, I'll make it plus this side. This side also will be plus. So minus plus, that also minus plus. Let us look into the third property. Scaling in z domain. Let us look into the third property is scaling property. Scaling property. Okay, this states that x of n, the transform is x of z. If x of n is multiplied by a raised to n, the transform is x of z by a. So x of n is multiplied by a raised to n, z is divided by a. Or we can say this also can be written as a z raised to minus 1. Because if you say z is to 1, if you bring it down, it will be a z is to minus 1. That means z is divided by a, or z1 inverse is multiplied by a. Because we know all the transform in terms of z raised to minus 1. So if I multiply a raised to n to xn, z minus 1 will be, z raised to minus 1 will be multiplied by a. Now what is ROC here? If I say ROC is R, or example, I'll say mod z is greater than R1 and less than R2. For example, here what will happen? Here it will be mod z by a will be greater than R1 and less than R2. Or what will be mod z? Greater than AR1, less than AR2. So whatever is the ROC, it will be multiplied by a. Because ROC is defined with z, z by a will become now the ROC, so z will be multiplied by, whatever be the ROC will be multiplied by a. Okay. Let us look into the property, proof of property, and then this we'll understand later in the problems also. Now proof. How will you prove this? Yes. Now what is the signal here? X of n. The signal we have to prove for a of a raised to n, u of n. So what we'll do here? We'll take y of n. We'll take y of n equals to a raised to n, u of n. Okay. So y of n. So what will be y of z? X of n. Sorry. What will be y of z? Y of z will be y of n, that is a raised to n x of n, z raised to minus n. N is from minus infinity to infinity. So what will be y of z? Y of z, summation n is infinity to infinity, x of n, take a inside, it becomes here z raised to n. That means y of z equals to summation n minus infinity to infinity, x of n, a z raised to minus n. So if you see the definition is x of n, z raised to minus n. So we can write here a, yes, I'll write here, if I want minus n outside, it will be z by a raised to minus n, because we want here minus n, so I am making it minus n. That means what is happening here? Y of z is equals to, in place of z you have z by a. This is nothing but x of z by a. If it is z here, it is x of z, but now it is z by a, so it is x of z by a. ROC will be now what? Mod z by a greater than R1, less than R2. So similarly, mod z will be greater than AR1 and less than AR2. So remember, whenever x of n is multiplied by a raised to n, z transform, z is divided by a, or we can say z inverse is multiplied by. Why I am telling you this form? Because we have all the transform in terms of z raised to minus 1. So it's easier to remember that z inverse is multiplied by a. So we'll get that easier. I'll give you an example here. I think it's clear. Yes. For example, now we in the last lecture also we have done what is z transform of u of n using scaling property. Example, what is z transform of u of n? Z transform of u of n is mod z 1 upon 1 minus z raised to minus 1 mod z greater than 1. So scaling property, if a raised to n is multiplied by u of n, the property says that z raised to minus 1 should be multiplied by a. The property says if x of n transform is x of z, a raised to n x of n, x of a should be multiplied by z raised to minus 1. So now a raised to n is multiplied to un. So in this side, a should be multiplied to z inverse. So a is multiplied to z inverse. And mod of z by a should be greater than 1, or we can write mod z should be greater than mod a, or a. Sorry. Clear? This is using scaling property, and we have solved this problem in the last video. You can refer this. So easier for us, when we have in z inverse term, just multiply a to z inverse. Okay. Now let us look into the fourth property. The fourth property is time reversal property. The fourth property is time reversal property. What it states? It states that if x of n, the transform is x of z, the transform of x of minus n is x of z inverse. It's a very easy property. X of n is x of z. If you reverse in time domain x of minus n, the z transform is x of z inverse. So what is ROC here? If I say mod z is greater than R1 and less than R2, here 1 by mod z will be greater than R1 and less than R2. Or we can say mod z will be greater than 1 by R2 and less than 1 by R1. Okay. So this will be the ROC. Let us look into the example here. Yes, let us prove this. So x of, I'll take as y of n equals to x of minus n, as we are doing all the properties. So what will be y of z? Y of z will be summation n is minus infinity to infinity y of n z raised to minus n. In place of y of minus n, I'll put as x of minus n z raised to minus n. Now take the index as m equals to minus n. Now when n equals to minus m, this becomes m equals to plus infinity to minus infinity x of m z raised to plus m. Okay. Now we know that we are adding here. So adding 1 to 100 or 100 to 1 is same. So limit is not a problem. We can just write it as equals to summation m equals to minus infinity to infinity x of m. But here is z raised to plus m. We want always in definition as z raised to minus, because the definition of z transform is z raised to minus. So we'll write here z raised to minus 1 raised to minus m. Now this is nothing but the proper z transform definition. So we know this is z transform of x of m, but you know in place of z it is z raised to minus 1. So this will be x z raised to minus 1, and ROC will be always for z raised to minus 1. So for this, if was z raised to 1 greater than r, here it will be z raised to minus 1 greater than r. Or what will happen? Z should be less than 1 by r. Because z will come here, r will come here. So z will be less than 1 by r. This is time reversal property. For example, I will give you here is, can I rub this now? Okay. So this will be, I will give you example here. One example we'll see how which one. So for example, if I say we know z transform, example, we know z transform of u of n is 1 upon 1 minus z raised to minus 1 mod z is greater than 1. So what is the time z transform of u of minus n? Time reversal property. Using time reversal property, we know that z inverse becomes z here. So it will be 1 minus z. Z inverse will become z, and the ROC will be mod z less than 1. If you want to write in terms of z raised to minus 1, I can write here multiply z raised to minus 1, z raised to minus 1 minus 1. Minus z inverse upon 1 minus z inverse, because I want in this form. So I am making minus this. The ROC is mod z less than 1. So if I know the z transform of u of n, no need to find the reversal of this. Use the reversal property. You can write here reversal property. What is reversal property? If the time domain signal is shifted or reversed, z inverse will become z, or z will become z inverse, and ROC will be opposite. Okay. Yes. Let us see the fifth property is differentiation in z domain. These are the important properties. There are many properties, but we are doing some important properties. The fifth property is differentiation in z domain. Okay. It states that x of n, the transform is x of z, n x of n, the transform is minus z d by dz of x of z. So x of n, if the transform is x of z, ROC is r. For nx of n, the transform is minus z d by dz of x of z. If you know What is the differentiation of any term? If you differentiate, and you know x of z has something always in numerator denominator. So if you differentiate this, you are going to get the same with square term in denominator with z term extra. So we can write here ROCs are except z equals to infinity, because you're getting z in the numerator. This is same with z in the numerator. So we can say R except z equals to infinity, or you can check after getting the answer also. Yes, let us prove this. In this, we will not prove by taking z transform of nxn. Instead, we will start with the left hand side. So what is x of z? So we are starting from the right hand side. We can see that will be easier for us. Because if you start from this, it will become difficult for us. We'll start from the right hand side. What is x of z? X of z is x of n, z raised to minus n. N is minus infinity to infinity. What will be d by dz of x of z? So you are doing here d by dz of x of z. When you differentiate this, you are differentiating with respect to z. In the right hand side also, we will differentiate with respect to z. This is variable, it is depending on n, so this is constant. So when you write down this, the differential of this will be minus n z raised to minus n minus 1. Okay, so this will be equals to summation n equals to minus infinity to infinity n xn z raised to minus n. What is extra here? N I have taken here, xn I have taken here because it's depending on n. What is extra here? Minus z raised to minus 1. So I am writing here minus 1 upon z. Z raised to minus 1 will become z minus 1 upon z. D by dz x of z. Now this, if I take it this side, it will be minus z d by dz x of z equals to summation n xn z raised to minus n. So if xn is there in the right hand side, x of z is there in the left hand side. If nxn is there, what is in the left hand side? This one. So we say that when nxn, the z transform is minus z d by dz xz. And we also know x of z has something always in the denominator. So for that we know when you take the differentiation, there will be denominator square. Extra term is minus z. So mainly you will get ROC as R except z equals to infinity. But then also after getting the answer, we can check the ROC. Okay, this is differentiation in z domain. Okay. Now, can I rub this? We'll do some problems and then that will be more clear to you. The next property is convolution property. Sixth property is convolution in convolution property. Very important property. It states that x1n, the transform is, I'll do it because we need space here, so I'll rub this. Convolution property the sixth property we are doing. Okay, we need space here. I'll write here x1n, the transform is x1z. x2n, the transform is x2z. This property states that x1n convolved to x2n is nothing but product of the transforms x1z into x2z. Okay, that means the convolution in time domain is nothing but the product in z domain. So what is convolution? I'll name as y of n equals to convolution of two signals, and hope you know the convolution is what? x1k x2 n minus k, for k equals to minus infinity to infinity. This is convolution y of n. Now I'll find out the z transform of this, and that I should get is x1z into x2z. I think it's not clear, I'll write it again. Is x1z into x2z. So I'm finding the z transform of this, I should get is x1z into x2z. So y of z equals to y of n, z raised to minus n, n is minus infinity to infinity. Now putting the value of yn is this, I'll get n equals to minus infinity to infinity. Again second summation, for k is minus infinity to infinity. What is that? x1k x2 n minus k z raised to minus n. So this one only I have put it for y of n, else is same. So this is nothing but y of n. Okay, now I have two summations. What I'll do here, I'll take it, this is only for k, so I'll take it as summation k minus infinity to infinity x1 k. Okay, I'll write here z raised to minus k. We don't have z raised to minus k here, but I have written here z raised to minus k, so I'll write there somewhere as z raised to plus k. Equivalent, z raised to minus k into z raised to plus k is 1. Okay, so when I'm writing z raised to minus k, I'm making it 1 by z in z raised to k, and this one I've covered. I've taken this summation, I've taken x1k, and extra I've taken this. What is left is this summation I'm writing, and this is not depending on n, I've taken it outside. Now this is n equals to minus infinity to infinity, x to n minus k is depending on this, and z raised to minus n is also depending on n. Is it clear? What I have done, first I have taken this summation and x1k, and with x1k I need z raised to minus k, so I have taken, but z raised to minus k I cannot take it as like this, so I have added here z raised to plus k. So this into this is nothing but 1. Now what is left? Left is x to n minus k with this summation z raised to minus n. Now look at this, what is this? You can see here, what is this value? What is this? This is nothing but x1z, x1k z raised to minus k. So I can write this as x1z. Now what is this? This is summation n equals to minus infinity to infinity x2 n minus k z of n minus k. So x2 n minus k z of n minus k, minus of n. This is also z transform. So what is z transform? x2z. So I can write here x1z into x2z. That means I have taken the convolution in the time domain, and in z transform we see that it is nothing but the product in z domain. So whenever you have to find convolution, you have seen sometimes convolution in time domain becomes difficult to find when you have the complex signal. What we can do is we can find it z transform of first signal, z transform of second signal, multiply, take its inverse transform, you get the convolution of the signal. Now what about ROC? Now suppose I say ROC is R1 here. ROC is R1 of this. ROC is R2 of this. So when you multiply, you have the LCMs of, because you have denominator of 1, denominator of 2 multiplied. So the ROC will be R1 intersection R2. That means the common of this. So the product and ROC is R1 intersection of R2. So we have seen the 6 properties, and we'll use these properties to solve the problems of Z transform wherever we need to apply these properties, because sometimes the Z transform of some complex signal is not easy to find, so there we'll apply the properties, and it's Z transform is used for analysis of discrete time signals and systems. So in the next lecture we'll solve some problems on the using properties of Z transform. Thank you.